I'm gonna just say the things that I'm hearing in my head. The fact that you're not aware that you hit the jackpot being here. How you can go from a homey little neighborhood with flowers and no traffic, and 1 block later be in a resort vacation town and suddenly see all these condos that your brother would love and his kids would love. To overhear a woman across the street from you saying, "We had perfect weather and rented a pontoon boat. Check, check, check. These are the boxes I always wanted checked." To have allowed my guilt at how much I love this place, or my fear at being overwhelmed by things that aren't ideal, when there truly aren't ideals anywhere. And my fear maybe of fixing my sights and myself on one place, this one feeling, even though this place clearly has like 18 different feelings just on this walk alone. I've interacted with birds, I've talked to myself, I've gone to a low-key post office Chase Bank, smiled at strangers, touched trees and talked to trees. I'm holding tree bark right now because one of those interactions was so meaningful. But now I'm walking down a busy street, Harbor Drive, with people who are like going to the beach, or they're on vacation, or they just probably have a very different approach to life than me, and whatever. Going on some private property just to get away from the crowd for a second. Okay. Just a big chunk of grass. It's been mowed. I don't know why anyone would care if I go on it, but whatever. The idea of private property is so strange to me, although I love having a backyard for the first time in my life since 2016. Mostly I just wanted to let these people pass me. Yeah. I could almost cry because I felt this feeling this morning when I was taking this little quiz about being an INFJ or an INFP, and I realized I am like strongly checking all the boxes that relate to flow and empathy and feelings connection, and I'm not checking any of the boxes that relate to creating systems, creating wealth, having a vision, following it through. My brother and I are genuine, truly genuine, all the way down to our core opposites. And he's created a world like these condos of, I mean, not exactly like these, but, ambition leading to results. Having a vision, seeing it through. And I am literally wired the opposite. I think I was taught at some young age that it was arrogant to call yourself an artist. But like my whole life, my literal whole life, all the way until I die, could be flowing with the equivalent of blank canvases, whether it's blank journals, blank video, blank social media, and just flowing and letting the mood of the place, of the moment, of my life, of conversations, of observations of people, observations of nature, observations of human nature, whether it's friends that I mostly keep at a distance so that it doesn't turn into dramatic karmic-based interactions between people, because I tend not to understand people, and I tend to be a very strong character in relationships, and so I tend to be misunderstood, and so people tend to have one perception of me. Astrology explains this as rising signs, like you come off one way and then when people get to know you, you're another. And so someone once told me, it makes sense that Gemini is your rising sign, because when they first meet me, I'm just all ideas and I don't seem very emotional about them. And the thing is, in a way, that is actually the true me, because when I'm by myself, I can convert the emotions because I understand myself and I understand the purpose of emotions like fuel. But when I'm interacting with other people, my true self, my Aries self comes out, my true to them self, I guess. I mean, maybe that is my true self, but that's why I hide myself. That's why I don't have many friendships, and I don't have friendships specifically with people who experience the world with a lot of anger or a lot of extreme emotions. Because I've found that I'm such a sponge. Some people call Aries the baby of the zodiac, and I feel like that is true. I will go along with everyone and everything. And I also seem to have a leader streak, but I'm best when I'm leading a very clear goal, like I'm the music director for a musical, or I'm the creative head of something where I'm writing musicals with kids, or I'm leading one-on-one in piano lessons, and I can adapt them to each person that I interact with so that that person feels positive about taking piano lessons and does the work, you know. But I can't do this one-size-fits-all thing, because that usually creates a lot of drama and karma and bristling with people, and I can't then hold true to a belief that your speedy progression in piano is more important than how the process is making you feel. So I tend to accommodate how a process is making someone feel, and I think that I have to be upfront about that when I take new piano students. Like, I can't get you to your goal just based on cracking a whip, because I don't believe in the goal over believing in you finding yourself and how piano fits in the whole system of yourself. And that's why I can't build things that need to have deadlines or certain amounts of money or systems that make sense to other people. That's why I think my systems ability of making like 30 albums by now is really more just a flow ability, an ability to flow mixed with having been raised for 20 years of my life, or 22 years of my life, or maybe even 24 years of my life if you go through my MFA program. I was raised to be a success-oriented person, like a material success-oriented person. And so I think when it came to ideas and pleasing teachers, I was able to do it. And that's why I was able to get conservatory-level piano skills, because I was able to please the people around me by adapting what was actually best for me into what would serve their vision of what I should be. And that's probably why I've had to do so much inner work as an adult, not just traumatic things, also just because I adopted so many different people's philosophies. People who are like this, I adopted those instead of saying, no, I prefer just the blank slate feeling of the day and just creating and writing and becoming and evolving and growing and observing. A lot of observing. I would say the thing I do the most when I'm on my walks or nature drives is just kind of try to take a lot of stuff in. Like, what I'm feeling today mostly is just an observation, a general observation that there's far more in Grand Haven that I love, that my guilt for loving it was getting in the way of, because I know somebody who I think is a great artist, who I guess was from here and now hates it here. And I understand that I don't know everything about this place. I understand there may be some real problems with bullying, or one-size-fits-all maybe at the high school, or competitiveness. I understand that there truly may be some deeply rooted things wrong with this place, but the place they moved to, Grand Rapids, I know has some deeply rooted things wrong with it too. So now to believe and worship the idea that Grand Rapids is inherently better because there's a little more community for misfits, I can say with my own knowing that I don't want that kind of community. I don't want to join a crowd of misfits because it becomes a crowd wherein I have to fit the misfits. I've tried it quite a lot, quite a few times in my life, and sneeze. Sorry. Anyway, it just works better when I just am an actual misfit than when I try to create community with misfits, except in sort of like symbolic ways. So like making the compilation albums, In the Clouds albums, I'm bringing a lot of misfits together, but in symbolic ways. I'm just messaging with them one-on-one And I can do that in ways where I understand and honor each of their flows. Like some people write me back instantaneously with lots of words, and other people never write me back, or write me back like a month later and say, hey, sorry, but they never told me they even read it. But then a month later they're like, hey, sorry, we're trying to get this done. And it's like, I have to honor both ways of being, and that's really hard for me to do if I'm in a group where there's a singular kind of group think about what's okay and what's not okay. And being a misfit means that I can just go with my own intuition about what each person needs me to be, which is a lot like how I was as a kid. So I can be the adaptable one to all the different teachers. I can be the adaptable one to all the different players in a scene, in a music scene, and I can change myself to match them. And the closer and closer and closer I get to somebody, the less I can do that, because the more time they're getting of my life. So that's why being in a band has been challenging. Because the longer it goes on and the more close we become to each other, the more I can't have my whole self just be a reaction to you, to other people. I need to have my own self. And then if I'm going to have my own self, then I get to start witnessing how my self makes others not have space for their self, and then I don't really want that. I don't want myself to be a problem for you. That's why being in a family was hard for me, I think, and why maybe my solution inside of a family where almost no one was like me, or maybe my dad was but didn't get to be because of his, needing to provide for all of us. It's like, and maybe that's the model I had of somebody with my similar wiring. My dad and I could go spend whole days, hours, just being ourselves, making up songs, making up plays, making up stories, inventing. I mean, he can apply that part of himself to anything. When my mom had a paint your own pottery store, he made all these like window displays with snowmen, or he like wrote songs for the kids or with the kids. And he's a very adaptable human being with his creativity, but at the end of the day, he loves that process and that feeling of creating and organizing too, which I forget sometimes how much I even love organizing creative stuff, because I have had so much flow that I forget that if I really give into it and there's a lot of space for it, then I end up even loving organizing, which is kind of like why my band camp is what it is. It's so full of things, and organizing it and creating, updating lyrics or updating a website, all of that is like organizing the creative stuff. And he's much more organized than me, but I don't know, I still have a draw to that too. Anyway, just some rambles on what it's like to be a misfit. But really, if these rambles for me, if this one's just for me, which maybe it is, then really what I wanted to say was, holy crap, I've been walking for like 45 minutes. I went downtown to deposit a check. Well, that's not why. It was an excuse to go for a walk and get some sunshine. But I had taken a really painful bike ride like 3 days ago, and it wasn't painful till the next day, I guess, but I was sore all weekend, and so I'm not sure that pace is right for me, that heavy exercise pace. But at the same time, I love constantly moving. So I just probably need to allow myself to move at whatever pace I actually move at. If no one's coming with me, then it doesn't hurt anybody that I walk slow. But yeah, and I think there's a part of me being older than Brian that wants to like stay in shape and be healthy and be able to sort of pull my weight. But suddenly going on like a 14-mile bike ride might not be the best solution for that. Like, that was intense, and I did it a month earlier too, and I did like this one better than that one, because this one was on the Calhaven Trail, and that was beautiful and peaceful, whereas the other one I took was along, I don't know what it's called, Lakeshore Drive? Yeah, south out of Grand Haven towards Holland, and that one just had so much traffic, it was annoying, kind of like this moment. Like, of all the spots to pick a place to make a video, I picked the noisy spot, but, well, you're seeing that it's a beach town because people keep walking by in bikinis. Anyway, I just really like that my town is so many different things. There are like old people everywhere in simple homes that remind me of both my grandparents. There are houses that remind me of my childhood home. There is a huge wealth variety here that isn't in Saugatuck, as I said in a recent video. I feel like there are houses here that we could really afford to buy And if so, then we could paint it, and we could do the lawn how we want to do it, and we could, you know, I don't know. It's just like, why not dream? Why not dream in one place? I guess I've always dreamed in other places. And this tree liked me. And flowers, like I'm bending over smelling flowers here, and I'm just not worried about looking different than other people. And I'm realizing that when I move at my own pace here, then unlike a lot of places I've lived, like it's very much like a big city feeling where nobody's really watching me, no one really cares about me here. And like you could have a bad day and spin that negatively, but at the end of the day, I always said I want to feel like a tourist in a tourist town. But like, that's not quite what I mean. What I mean is I think I had said not that. I think I had said I want to feel anonymous in my own town. Something like that. This was like 5 years ago. And I think I was so jaded by the fact that Grand Haven didn't like jump around embracing my music and make me feel special and highlighted the way I felt being like a leader in RYP or Senior Youth Players, where I was like celebrated for my talents. And it's like Grand Haven didn't really do that. But then over the years there have been different things that have made me feel like I belong. But there have been other things that I just maybe don't belong to. Like Third Coast Recording Company is a beautiful organization that tons of people record with and make albums there from all around. And he's worked with John Mayer and the Grateful Dead, the guy who owns it, Bill Chrysler. And first I wanted to be involved there, and then Brian was an intern there and he did a lot of recording there. But at the end of the day, we've sort of drifted back off to our own things and our own systems, and our way of having systems is just throwing some house shows and, you know, having a band. But now that he's leading the band more than I'm leading the band moves really slowly and softly, and it's not a big deal. It just kind of moves when it wants to move, and it's just slow and chill. And we tried moving it faster, and maybe that's where it went wrong, is I took my Aries energy and like pushed, and you know, we attracted attention, and I love the music we've made, but it just ended up being overwhelming for me, I think, to think that I had to put my own self on hold for that. And no one ever asked me to, but I just did it because I can be very type A, or I can be very black and white in my thinking. And so what it is now is like just this soft thing. Brian and my voices sound really good together. He's very slowly working on songs that he's crafting for Cloudlight. Mackenzie is in quarantine in Grand Rapids. You know, we're all kind of separate right now, even though Brian and I live together. And Saya isn't our drummer anymore, but Saya's doing their own music projects, and we don't have a drummer right now, but Brian's been practicing drums, and he'll probably record them on the record. And he likes some of my drum beats too. I'm actually okay at drums, not to record, but to get ideas. So it's just a very soft thing, Cloudlight, as a band. And I think Brian really always wanted that. Not only a band over a duo, and maybe he knew I would have engulfed him if we were just a duo, who knows. But Brian always really wanted it to just be like a band, but maybe not be so intense. I don't know. It's a lot like how Grand Haven feels. It's a thing. It's a very lovable thing. It's a very beautiful thing, but it's not very intense. It's very chill. And the other reason that maybe, Jessica, you need to consider staying here for your whole life, or at least long enough to buy a house and settle down, is because you've walked, this part's to me, even if I end up posting it, you've walked about 15, 20 blocks so far, maybe more, maybe a mile and a half. I'm at the lake, or, well, this is the channel, I'm headed to the lake. Jessica, you've seen memories, all beautiful memories, at about 15 different places. Like, yes, I have negative memories here too, because where won't that happen when you live, when you're alive? But like, I have like a disproportionate amount of positive memories here. When I look around and I see things, it's kind of like how my music career really took off online after 2016, once we settled down into a house. Because I think my natural nature is to just keep changing and uprooting. It's very like a adventurer or an explorer. But if I believe my own song, we're not made to be explorers. Because when you try to be an explorer, you keep changing. And when you keep changing, you stay the same. And I had never really understood that. But if I keep changing places where I live, then I bring my same self with me to that place. And if then the second there's any challenge, it's like people who change relationships all the time. And I have songs about that. The one for Cloudlight, it's called The Same Things. It's like if you keep changing the thing, you keep bringing your same self to new things, but you don't give yourself a chance to grow or evolve or learn something new from other people because you're changing at the first sign of distress. And maybe some people don't want to grow or evolve or learn something new from other people, and they want to assert their own individualized self, and so they just keep moving around until there's a place where their own individualized self really belongs. Oh, hi, Bunny. He was hiding in these purple flowers. Hey, guy. I don't know. I just really like ideas, and I like reflecting on things, and I could probably have been on the debate team because I could probably argue either side of that. And maybe that's why I believe in, well, this one album I recently made, it's not released yet. It's either called Strange Beta Testing or 1010108 or Everything is Connected. I'm not sure. Maybe all of the above. Anyway, it's quite lovely, and I just complimented my own album. I got distracted. That wasn't what I was going to say. Anyway, the point is, I was going to say, is that, you know, like I found out I have type B blood, and we're known for being non-cooperative in Japan. They bully people like me. And it's like, well, that's true. I'm not really cooperative with community-oriented things, which the O kind of represents. Like, let's all stand in a circle and support the one thing. And I'm not really one to follow in a cooperative way or in an employee sort of way other people's systems, which is like what the one represents, like a sort of point of the pyramid, like a, this is the thing, we are this, and we will all do this, you know, you will all follow my vision kind of things. I'm not good at following those people, and I'm not good at being those people, except, like I said, on maybe, you know, music directing a musical because there's a goal and a paycheck. But even the way that I do my musical theater writing camps where we're all writing, it's their ideas. I just am good as the point of light at bringing all their ideas together into a cohesive show, but then they improvise half of it anyway, so it's like really them, not me, but I'm just good at being the organizer of it. So that might be the closest I am to like the one, the like, not authoritative, but, you know, singular thing. And yeah, and as far as communal things, yeah, like being in a musical or being the music director in a musical, it's kind of the same concept of like having a singular goal of building something together. That, so I can understand arguments for either, like a world where lots of O's exist, where there's individual tribes and communities that manage themselves together by all having a part and a voice. And I can also understand places and systems where one person has a vision, like this beautiful condo thing, and maybe they pay for it all and organize it all and bring all the people together, and it's their vision. It's the opposite of the too many cooks in a kitchen philosophy. And so if that singular person, the one, knows how to bring all that together, then I know how to, I understand that too. And I'm grateful when I live in places that have people like that, who have a vision and know how to like create jobs for people, for instance. One of Brian's old bosses was that way. And sometimes he's worked for or volunteered with, or I have, you know, places where there isn't somebody like that at the top, and the thing kind of falls apart or flounders or doesn't create enough income for people to do the jobs that the person wanted them to do, because you really sometimes do need a person who's a visionary on all the details to just straight up be in charge. And there's obviously so many ways that can go wrong. Like, my mind immediately says Hitler, and I'm now thinking of other people as well. So, like, it's not, like, always good, obviously, but But similarly, the other approach isn't always good, of having no clear leader and all community and everybody having different roles. Like, that can go wrong too if there's anybody inside of those roles that doesn't have a clear vision, or that is being unrealistic about the abilities or the strengths that they have, and then their jobs don't get done, and then someone has to come in and take care of those jobs, and I don't know. So anyway, oh yeah, strange beta testing. So I believe, you know, type B blood, I read something about us being like the nomads and like coming down from, I don't know, the Himalayas or somewhere, northern India. Like, that's where that type B blood originated apparently, and then it migrated and obviously integrated. I mean, A and B and O blood is all over, so, but for this particular, this bee is right by my head. Maybe because I'm talking about bees. Dude, go away. I'm not a flower. I'm giving away the secrets of being a bee. It's like, stop it. It really wanted to attack me. I don't even have anything sweet in my coffee. I don't know what that's about. Oh yeah, I do. I have honey in it. Well, anyway, I had quit that habit for a long time, but now I'm back to having honey and coffee, and probably not that good for me. Who knows? Anyway, yeah, being a bee. I'm so weird. Whatever. Hi. Now I'm under a bunch of trees. Who knows what's gonna attack me here? Maybe a spider. Having lots of experiences with spiders lately. Okay, so to finish, oh my gosh, I'm probably getting too much sun. So to finish telling the trade secrets of being a bee, which is a form of, oh, now I'm creeped out, I saw a fly. But, you know, I did see a lot of birds and bunnies and bees yesterday. We have a lot of honeybees in our clover in the front yard, so, okay, that's spooky. So, I don't know, a bee kind of looks like an 8 to me, which is like the infinity symbol, and I probably have gone a little crazy. For all I know, I've probably gotten really lost in ideas that don't serve me to say them out loud, because maybe they are just crazy sounding, but it's just an image. It's like a metaphor. It just kind of helps me understand things that seem similar to each other, and understand things that seem different from each other. See, there's another memory. I took photos with Chantal outside of that place. Huh. I hope everybody I know remembers that I'm making that compilation album. I recently decided I don't want to follow up with everybody I've ever written to, because it's like 70 messages I have to send, and I think it might just be okay if people forget about it and they don't send it to me, and it shouldn't be my job to send follow-up messages, especially like duplicate multiple follow-up messages to literally everybody. So I think I might just let it go, and whoever's on there is on there. The end. Oh, not the end. Oh yeah, I should still post it in the forums. I'm just going to let go of reaching out to people individually, because it's really draining, and the deadline is in like 8 days. 8! So yeah, 8. It's like a bee. And it's also like an infinity symbol. And I just think it would be an interesting possibility if the idea of type B blood is like strange beta testing. This idea, I'm giving away my own trade secrets, whatever. If anything, maybe this makes it more interesting, but probably not. Probably just makes it sound crazy. Like if Sufjan Stevens told us all the things that he believes that creates the weird work, like Age of Odds kind of stuff that he creates, and all the symbolism, we'd probably all just think he's crazy and we'd stop following him. But he's also Catholic. He's Catholic and he's like weirdo symbolism. And I think that's what I am. I'm like kind of a Christian, God, Holy Spirit, Jesus kind of freak in a way, where I'm like really like all day long thinking about that kind of stuff, because I want to be protected from any dark things in the world, and I really don't believe in my own ability to protect against things that are 20 billion times bigger than me, or 20 billion times 20 billion times bigger than me. But then on the flip side, I really believe in paying attention to resonance, which is like believing in myself and what resonates and what doesn't. And there have been things inside of churches and things inside of systems that I'm like, that does not resonate. That must be off. That must have gotten off or gotten taken over by something. And so like, I believe both in, well, whatever. I'm on a weird tangent, but I don't know why I even have this much video space right now. So the last thing I'll say was strange beta testing. I do want to release that album soon. I'm in the midst of like so many albums. That one, The one I wanted to release today, but now this happened and I think this is cooler. What's it called? Yeah, June 22nd, it'll be this. I kind of superimpose these dates and deadlines on myself sometimes just for weird symbolic reasons, but if that's not what I felt inspired to do, then I don't want to force myself to go on supposedly meaningful dates. Like, whatever, 2 days ago, oh boy, just fell. 2 days ago, 11 years before that, I got married to a person that encouraged my creativity but squashed my joy. That's the easiest way to sum it up. Not a good fit. And I think maybe with a different person who is more tolerant of his ways, he could be or is better off. So, and there are things that he did and or maybe still does that were truly not okay, but I've decided that's not my story to keep telling. Like, I hope he's living a good life, and I hope he is caring for people and people are caring for him. And why wouldn't I wish that for someone who cares what they did to me? So anyway, coffee break, check for bees. All right, yeah, so 620 was that type of date, and I just kind of wanted it to have new meaning, but then it didn't feel right to release something on 620, and then I was like, well, how about 622? That's when I was in Hawaii with a person who wouldn't do anything with me, and it wasn't even fun. Like, literally, like, it would be telling things that maybe should remain private out of respect, but pretty much the worst possible honeymoon someone could have, because our relationship had a lot of delusion in it, and that's really all I need to say about that. But anyway, I loved Hawaii, but like each date of this honeymoon was bad for different reasons, but I just tried to find joy in it. And I remember 622, I think it was 622, or even maybe it was 623. We were in Honolulu for the first couple days, and then we were up on the North Shore, and the North Shore, I think we went up there on 623, so maybe 622 was fine. I don't remember. No, I think we went up on 622, and I think that was the night that sucked. So, you know, and then I proceeded to just make my own fun and make the best of it, and it was great, and I hope he had what he needed to have in this lifetime, and I don't know. We just all have experiences, and we have our ways of understanding experiences, and a different person than me would just be raging right now about some of the stuff that's gone on in my life, but it just hasn't ever served me to not have the end result of every bit of analysis be coming to forgiveness, coming to understanding that we're all different and wired differently, and that I played a part in it too. I stayed in systems and situations that didn't serve me because of beliefs that were in my head that weren't serving me. So if that's you and you've done that, then you're on your own journey of coming to realize that. You know, you could believe you're on a journey of fixing other people, which maybe I believed, or that you're on a journey of healing things or tolerating things or forgiving things in people all the time. You know, you can forgive people without continuing to put yourself in situations that aren't good for you. And that's what I didn't know back then. I didn't know that I could deeply forgive somebody for being harmful to my spirit without continuing to put myself in situations where I allow myself to be harmed, or allow my spirit to be harmed by that person's beliefs or actions. And so it's both things. It's both things. You can be forgiving from a distance. I learned a lot of this in Al-Anon, so that gives away a little bit of what was going on, but that's okay. I don't have to protect the world. Anyway, if you ever read Al-Anon literature, it can help with that. But there were things in Al-Anon that messed me up too, because then I misunderstood some of it, and I didn't apply the whole from a distance thing, because some of the early Al-Anon literature was all about women trying to stay with their husbands and tolerate things, and I believe maybe in some cases tolerated way too much. And that can put out your light too. Anyway, but it's important to realize you have a role in it. So where this type B blood idea kind of comes in is this idea of like, what if you know, what if this is a strange beta testing and the type Bs that are so hated in the world are here to sort of bridge, B for bridge the misunderstandings going on between the type A blood, which I kind of equate with like the ones of the matrix, 1 0 1 0 1 0 1, all of that kind of stuff. I kind of equate the type A blood with a 1, like an idea of like the point of the pyramid, or the singular thing, the thing that believes in its own visionary systems. And so that's type A to me. And then type O would be, you know, they say that comes maybe more from like a hunter-gatherer thing, but it's not my place to know if any of these concepts are true. It's more just that as metaphors and as symbols, they've been helping me. Looks like it's about to rain. Anyway, and so what if type B came into the world later as sort of like a there needs to be some sort of bridge that shows that, you know, if type O is accepting all, but only if they all will stand in the circle and play a role in that circle, then that's still a lot like a type A. And if a type A is a very individualistic, singular kind of view of the world, a creator, a person always trying to maybe get ahead or create systems or be the one who creates the farm and employs the people. And they say that type A blood originated in that sort of agricultural mindset, and type O is usually associated more historically with hunter-gatherer type mindset, which would have a community that works together. And it's like, I can see why type B doesn't fit either, because type B, they're saying, originated from nomadic people, which is a need to be adaptable. But I think the need to be adaptable, I can see why it would be hated, because you'd be saying through your lifetime, through your actions, but also maybe through your words, that you believe that both approaches should make space for each other. I mean, maybe the type B blood is the genuine like coexist sticker, and some people can't stand the coexist sticker because they feel like to say we should all coexist is a form of asserting one thing. What if some people don't want to coexist? I don't know. I don't agree with that. Or what if other people believe coexist means we should all get in the circle and all play a role in this particular way, and other people are like, well, no, I have this other vision. So I don't know. I definitely feel like my existence is a strange beta testing, and that's some origins of a random album that you haven't even heard yet because it's not released. But I wrote that one on June 2nd, and I wrote the one that I was going to release today, Upward, A Quarren Dream. It's already online, lo-fi, but I've actually edited it and made it better thanks to Brian Ralph being in my life and kind of gently, with the kindness of the deepest soul ever, pointing out to me the ways that he's slightly distracted by little things in music. And over time, I don't know, I've become a little bit more interested again in editing. So, hi! So, starting to do more of that, editing and all that. And they're tiny little things to edit, like truly just like making tiny little differences. It might take me, let's see, it took me 6 hours one night. So maybe if I put like 6 more hours into it, maybe tonight, maybe sometime this week, then that'll equal 12. Maybe I should always assume I should put 12 hours of mixing into things because the number 12 is lucky for me. Okay, that's my story. Oh, so yeah, I was gonna release Upward, A Quarren Dream today, the edited version. And I like it so much that I already spent 6 hours, but I wanna spend 6 more hours, and I want it to be really good, and I wanna mail it to YCE and make 6 or 12 copies of it to, I just realized 444 would be even better, because 444 is a real number, and that adds up to 12. So maybe I should do 3 4-hour chunks. Yeah, I'm kind of obsessed with numbers. It's kind of weird. Well, that's my life. I'm gonna release that album soon. By the time I get this video up online, I'll probably have already released it. But I love you, and I hope some of this was helpful to you, fellow weirdos. Stay weird. Be yourself. It doesn't really matter. You're not really hurting anyone. Thank you to Grand Haven for teaching me very, very slowly that this might be a place that I can exist and be weird for my whole lifetime. And then rather than focusing on moving all the time and changing places and changing systems, I could just live inside of this system that allows me to be my own individualized system, and I could create systems inside this system and focus on the things that actually matter to me instead of moving again and trying to find jobs and all of that nonsense, which isn't even something that matters to me. I'll just stay focused on my singer-songwriter world, which works really well here, whether or not anybody here is listening. In fact, it's probably better that they aren't, because then I can be anonymous inside my own town. Except when I do the little kids art fair. I always play for like 3 hours at this kids art walk day in downtown Grand Haven, and they really love me. And I'll probably start doing Walk the Beat again, because it's over on Beach Tree on the east side of town, and it's actually gotten really cool. And I did that for 2 years, but I thought that 2 years ago, which was the last one they did, it looked really cool and edgy and weird, and I regretted that I didn't sign up. So, okay, I'm gonna stop rambling. Goodbye!